We'll start with roll call.
St. Laurent,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Putnick,
Here.
Oswald,
Here.
Missy,
Here.
and Poznanski,
Here.
and Rose is here. We have a quorum.
Lee's here too.
I did Lee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, we will stand for our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the first item on our agenda is approval of our agenda. So being that our executive director is running a little bit behind,
I'm gonna open up my stuff on my phone. I'm not playing on my phone.
Yeah, I'm putting mine on the phone too.
I think there are a couple things we could probably just, well, so first of all, funding request, we have a funding request now, right?
Yep.
So we could probably make that adjustment, that there is a funding request.
And we can move that above financial report.
So you're looking for approval of agenda
Um,
with that?
One more thing though, under unfinished business, we have code enforcement cost sharing. And in our last meeting, there was a motion made to table that indefinitely. So I don't know if that has to stay on, or we take it off.
I think we can take that off.
Strike it.
That's, I'm sorry, A.
That is C,
C.
under unfinished business, code enforcement cost sharing. And with those changes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I would support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then in your online packet, you should have your meeting minutes from the September meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the September meeting.
I'll second.
And everyone here was at the September meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, meeting minutes are approved. The next item is public forum. We've made a change in how we're doing public forum going forward after some feedback from our board members last meeting. If anyone would like to speak on any item that is not on our agenda, you may do so now. If you're here to speak on an agenda item, you would be able to take the podium at the point that a motion and second is made for that specific topic. So that being said, is there anyone that would like to speak for public forum? Hi.
You can go over to the podium
Yep.
and then, yeah, then we can all hear you good.
Hi, my name's Rachel Super. I just wanted to introduce myself. I opened up a facial lounge downtown Romeo. So I was messaging on the Facebook page. I'm not sure who I was messaging, but they asked me to come and introduce myself. So I just wanted to say hi. I specialize in corrective holistic treatments, and I also have another esthetician who does eyelash extensions. And we're really excited to be in the Romeo community.
Great. What's your location?
I am kind of behind the vet's office in the Chamber of Commerce off Newbury.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
My daughter just made an appointment with you guys today. She did.
Okay. Any other public forum comments? All right, so we'll move on to funding request. In front of you, you have a request from the Romeo Historical Society. They are requesting $1,000 again this year for advertising and promotions of the Christmas home tour.
I'll make a motion to approve the $1,000.
A second.
Any discussion?
Do they, I wasn't here last year, did they provide like itemized what they spend the money on?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Sorry, second, was that Marty?
Kathy.
All right, any discussion on this item? Anyone want to approach the board? Okay, we can go ahead and take roll call.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Let me help you with.
Hutnick,
Here, yes. Sorry.
Oswald,
Here.
Van Warmer,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Rose, yes, 7-0.
Give Christina a minute to get her stuff over.
Stuff?
Yeah,
Get you guys stuff?
You're good, you're good. We just did like the beginning part, so nothing,
The novel this time.
I know, it is, and there were still things that didn't make it in, but I probably have them.
I went to print it off until I saw it was 108 pages. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
It's not gonna
I didn't
happen.
see that, and I printed the book.
Right?
Made it to like page 23 and ran out of paper.
Would you like a
That's what
packet?
happens when you get for a whole.
you can see what everything's in there.
Since we have extra.
Yeah.
We do have extra agenda if anyone needs. Does anyone need an extra agenda?
So we moved a couple things wrong, Christina.
Did you?
Yeah, so we moved 7 and 6.
Okay.
So we just approved a funding request. I can get you that information after the meeting.
See a copy here.
Okay, yep.
Yep, okay. Who made the motion to,
I've got those notes.
You got
if
those?
wanna
Okay.
just
Yeah.
Throw them at you after, if that's okay.
yep,
We're actually down to number 7, which is now called financial reports. And I can give you my notes on the rest.
okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so moving on, whenever you're ready, Christina, for financial report.
Yep. So, in your packet is actually a revised financial report, so, should reflect that on, sorry. That would be like pages, I think, 7 through, I think, 12. There was a deposit that was made, that we received from the county, from Macomb County. However, upon further clarification, that's actually for the 911 wireless surcharge,
It's village money.
village money. So it needs to go back to the village.
Yeah.
So we will be writing a check for that and getting that back to the village this month. And then total bills then are $21,529.79. If you then move on to your statement of financial position, your ending balance, fund balance is $239,510.62. And then with your expenses for this month, I know this is like small, I'm gonna figure out how to make this bigger in the future so you can see it, because I know I need that. That gives you the detail on the bills to be paid. Items obviously include some of our landscaping items with Jesco's greenhouse, as well as payments to the Chamber of Commerce for their for our sponsoring of the Art and Wine Walk, as well as marketing too.
I just have one question for journal entry on 9/5 for $100.80. There's no pay listed.
Okay.
Split
Google.
between,
Oh,
Google fees?
yeah, the Google fees, it's a split.
It may have been split for fiscal years potentially. I'd have to look because depending on when we receive
Oh, I see, yep.
the invoices.
it just doesn't show on this page.
Oh,
With a page.
okay, on that page, I'm sorry, I was looking at this page.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. As also, we have 2 checks that will be voided. And then I know Marty was checking on a couple others that people haven't received, so they're sitting in this uncashed, unresolved at the bottom here. So the check for FAMS, the check 3300, that'll be voided. That was an original check. They have received the second check. The check for Megan, she didn't receive, and a couple others, John, Nick, and Mark. We're just checking to see if they have received them. If they haven't, we will rewrite them and void these.
Yeah, Nick has not received his.
Okay?
I have not been able to get a hold of Mark nor
Okay.
John, but,
Okay. We'll at
um,
least get Nick's voided and
right.
reissued.
And Mark has his,
Okay,
and John's has been mailed out.
okay. With that, I'll make a motion, to approve the financial report and the bills presented.
I'll second.
One second.
Okay.
No matter, it's fine.
Okay. There's no discussion, we can go ahead and take roll.
St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose is not here, or no, wait a minute, sorry. Looking at Bowers and going, Rose is here. Rose,
Yes?
yes, Bowers is not here. Putnick,
Yes.
Oswald, yes. Poznanski,
Yes.
Van Wormer.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business, social media contract amendment.
Do you want to introduce it, or do you want me to go over it?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so our contract for social media and website management is through Verona Creative. And we have been exploring some of the options that may be needed to kind of move forward and improve our social media presence overall. There are in your packet the monthly SEO for September, as well as the social media performance reports, because I know that you have not probably received those recently, so I wanted to make sure that you had those in the packet. The recommendation after Andrea and I met with Verona was to really look at how we can continue to optimize the website. These last few months, we were putting in more hours than what we had contracted for. And then in terms of some of the social media, it would be very good if we started looking at doing some reels, because reels are where everything's at nowadays. As well as potentially if we wanted to add in any live content, so live video of events or activities that are happening. So in your packet, she provided a proposal to amend the contract. We're currently at $14.98 a month. She recommended $32.35 a month plus ad budget. So that's the other area where you haven't been advertising on social media or on your Google platform, your Google profile. So there's opportunity there. We're looking at increasing hours from like 5 to 10 hours per month. But I did go back to her to see if we could potentially do an hourly for any web updates, knowing that we had kind of a bulk of things that had to get done, the last 2 months since I was in, but now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. So she was willing and able to provide the new quote. That was what was not done printing, unfortunately, so I can't pass it out to all of you. But based upon what was the proposed monthly fee, she would reduce that down to $2,683 a month. And then any hourly updates would be at a rate of $98 an hour. Beyond that, in terms of Google advertising or social media advertising, you could have a budget that would range from like $150 to $450 a month. So I think that's really more like, where do you feel comfortable? What do you want to try maybe for a short period of time and see what the results are, and budget for that at that price. And then the option to add live event coverage. So any Google ads, though, we would have to do a one-time setup fee of $582. So
For each ad?
for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at that point, I was recommending up to 4 social media live videos for the year. That would be a total of $1,408. You could reduce that or modify that as needed. So those are some of the options, I think, at this point. So in total, changing those amounts on your on page 2. So $26.83 per month, plus $250 per month for advertising, and then $98 an hour for website updates. Questions?
Are we doing discussion now?
So we have to have a motion and a second, and we can do discussion. So I'll make a motion to approve the contract amendment with Verona in the amount of $2,683 per month, plus $250 a month for advertising, and $98 per hour for website updates, and the one-time setup fee for $582, and for 4 social medias through the end of the contract for $1,408.
I'm sorry, are we going to discuss this?
So we have to motion and a
Motion it,
second to
okay.
discuss. Okay.
We need to know what we're discussing.
Yeah, so that's,
Okay,
if there's
just
a
wanna make sure.
second, then we can have a
Sorry, I
discussion.
didn't hear the other part.
Yeah.
Did anybody support yet? Okay, I would support.
Thank you.
Go
Okay.
ahead and talk.
Motion a second, and now we're open for discussion.
If I may? Oh,
I'm sorry, just 1 second, but according to our new thing, if anyone would like to speak on this item, you are welcome to now for 3 minutes. Okay, moving on to the board. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I will start. First of all, this contract, our current contract's good through when? We're under contract right now, correct?
Correct.
I believe you started in, was it January or February? February.
For the 6 months or for the year?
I thought it was for 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, so it's actually expired then.
Yeah.
We started in
I
February.
thought it expired in July.
So we've just been doing month to month, I'm assuming, so far?
Correct.
The question of live event coverage? What is that? What do we want to cover live events?
So it could be, obviously any event in the district, it could be, right now we still have budgeted for Vintage Fest and for Shakespeare, those could be around those events specifically. Could be anything happening in the downtown area.
So essentially something you choose.
Correct, yeah, it'd be up to us to decide what we want them to cover live.
Do we know what that involves? Is it video? Is it,
Yep, there would be, video, is it also interviews, like live on the streets?
I think it would include some of that,
Yeah.
yes, so like capturing kind of, you know, like if you were like, for instance, if you were doing Vintage Fest, I think you would have like an opportunity for like kind of interviewing those who are coordinating, who are a part of it, just getting that kind of live activity as well, as just like what you're seeing, if there's like a performance, that type of stuff.
So that's essentially an à la carte number that isn't in the motion.
It would be, yes, Verona.
Something they're
So
available.
when you say Verona,
So-
so somebody from Verona would be
Yes.
doing it, okay.
So I guess, I mean, it's à la carte, it's if we choose, but we also, I believe, have coverage during certain events, depending on what it is, I guess, or we have a source, do we not? I mean, can we call mitttv for certain?
Yeah, I'm
Events-
with John, I'm a little
events
unclear
that,
what is already covered. And again, I wasn't here when we contracted her, so I'm a
So-
little unclear myself of what is already being covered.
Currently, there's no live coverage, so if we wanted live coverage of any event, it would be up for us to contract. We can go with mitttv, we can go with Verona, we can go with another company. This is just who
Right.
we've been using.
Okay,
Right now, the current contract, and you can speak to the details, Christina, is our social media and our website.
okay.
And Instagram, it says 3 URLs.
Yes,
social
yeah,
media.
social media, yep,
Yes.
so
Oh,
Facebook,
Post,
yeah.
just posting,
Posting.
not
Just for
doing, not going
posting.
live.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
So-
right.
In creating the images, like actually creating the information and actually doing the post.
And then the other part of what we
Creating
already
posts.
contracted was the new logo,
Right,
the
that
3
part I
revisions,
understood,
all that
okay.
part of it. So right now, what we get from them with the agreement is the X number of posts per week, or per month on the social media, and, updates on our website.
Because I personally like to see all of that in writing, so that I can, for me, so we can look at it and see. So like when we say post, is it once a week, is it once a day, is it one, you know, that kind of coverage with that. I'd like to see that personally, just to know exactly what we're getting. Because like on the website, I mean, I know that she's worked on that quite a bit, I'm assuming, because it looks different, but there's some things on the website that are missing, like Missy's not on there, Paul's not on there, my name's misspelled under board members. So, you know, that kind of thing, like who looks after that, who checks the checker, I guess is my
Right.
question with that. So I noticed some things that just aren't up to par right now, and maybe we are overworking, or I don't know, you know, again.
My thought would be down the road that would, when we have a full-time director, we would have somebody to be the checker. I think we just
Yeah.
don't really have one
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of us right now.
Right, and
Yeah.
it is, right?
So when we
yeah.
see something, communicating it.
Because that's where I'm thinking, where this whole live stuff, where if we had a full-time director, they would be at the events shooting these things. They could, so I like that the option's à la carte, because we could use it now when we need it. And then down the road, should that be a task or whatever we ask of the director, then we can,
Yes.
we're not tied to that in the
I
contract.
definitely like that à la carte idea, because then we can pick and choose, and like you said, because we are the ones kind of monitoring it, or at least trying, so we have that opportunity. Because like on our events page on the website, we don't have any events listed, because we don't have any, so there's no events to do a live on,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So, which
Yeah,
makes
I
sense
mean,
to
and-
do that,
But I feel like,
I
say
like
this
that.
Friday, just because it's not our event, or we just approved expenditure for Historical Society, these are things, I think, if we spent money on, we could still, and they're in our district, we could still do something and promote that.
Right.
Because these businesses do pay into this board.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we wanted to shoot a little video on Friday and pass it on, I don't.
And I'd like to see that listed actually on the events, on our website
That's a good
page.
idea.
Especially, I mean, you know, the art and wine walk, and of course, the Christmas tour, that should be on there. So even though we personally aren't doing the events, I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
we should definitely have those listed on there.
Yeah.
For
No,
sure.
I agree with you 100%. I think that it's, you know, kind of to echo what Megan was saying, when we have a person in that role,
Right.
you know, right now, it's up to this board. So as we, you know, want to maybe funnel those events through Christina, and then she can get them to Verona, and make sure that those updates are done. I
Yes.
think that's, definitely a smart thing to do, because there's a lot of events, and as long as they're touching the DDA district,
Right,
we are
Yeah.
able to.
We have Shop Local coming up, you have all those.
right.
Yeah, there's quite a
Other
bit
They
of,
have a lot coming up, just
I mean, even just,
individually.
a live kind of around the new Christmas decor would be a neat
Yeah.
thing to do and promote that look
That would
and the windows downtown
When
and just
the
kind of
new,
getting that excitement.
When the
I
new
have a
library book
question
comes out,
about,
Yeah.
that's something.
The analytics, it says that in the future contract, moving forward, that it sounds like they'll do the populations for the keywords for Google, the Google algorithm. Were they not doing that before because that wasn't in the contract? Was that more money and we decided not to spend the money?
Yeah, so this kind of conversation came out of the fact that we're basically asking them to do a lot of these things and it wasn't contracted, so.
Gotcha.
So they, they've been really, worked with us and have done those extra things for us, but if we want to have a substantial marketing program going forward and have these additional items that what we originally contracted is kind of growing and more is coming to it, so this would be, a contract that would be, fair to them and fair to us of outlining what are we getting, what's it gonna cost us, and kind of going back to what the board kind of said as one of our focus items for this year, is being more of that backbone for the district and doing that base marketing and promotion of the overall DDA area. And this would allow us to do some more of those items that we're hearing people want to see out there.
I would like to share with everyone an email that I received from someone, and I think this would be an appropriate time to bring it up, because I do get a lot of people, obviously, asking and talking about different things. And I feel like this might be appropriate, because I feel like we have to make sure we're not just being efficient in this marketing, but being effective. So I received this email on September 11th. My name is Linda Wash, and I live in Sullivan Lake in Oakland County. I just spoke with you about the lack of promotion of Romeo events and my frustration in trying to find out anything at all that is coming up in your city. I did receive a postcard about 2024 events, but it's your store only. It does list a couple of citywide events. But in trying to locate other citywide events, I'm finding nothing. I tried the DDA website and it lists nothing. City of Romeo website lists nothing. Facebook is out of date. There are many people looking for small town experience, the type that Romeo offers. It is a shame that no one in Romeo thinks that you have events worth promoting to those of us who live outside of your lovely city. At the very least, Romeo should post events on the DDA and city websites. Promote local businesses that would benefit from marketing to those outside the city. If I had a business there, I would not be a happy camper. Considering hiring an outside marketing firm to maintain Facebook, which is sadly out of date, and other posts as well publicly in the Tri-County media outlet event calendars. Have a presence in Michigan event calendars. Romeo's just about absent. Sponsor events that celebrate the charm and distinctiveness of your downtown. These are all very basic but important marketing considerations. Very frustrating trying to find out anything about your town, just wanting to help, hoping Romeo does not disappear like so many small towns in Michigan. Linda. So I hear this off and on, and I do try to explain to them that we are working on these items as we are without a director, which makes it hard. So I just wanted to share that with you because I feel like it's important for us to really make a good decision on what we do, because I'm all about paying for marketing, because it is the first thing that businesses usually, when things are rough, that's the first thing they take away, and that should be the last thing they take away with that. So, but I just want us to make sure that we're doing the right thing and keeping the right things and spending our money.
Yeah,
with this.
I agree, and I think that,
The thing that Christina, you just passed down, is this
That's a summary of what she sent us in the proposal. And
Okay.
then on the flip side is where you see the,
Okay.
The breakdown?
So
the
Kathy,
financial
what,
breakdown?
what are some ideas that you would like to see happen that either aren't on here or we're not doing right now, or that you think we should spend more time on? Because maybe there's things that we can change with our contract to say, hey, we don't want you to spend 4 to 8 hours on X, we want you to spend it over here.
Right.
Is there any suggestions that you have?
My
that-
suggestions, just off the top of my head, thinking that with the website, do we have all of what we want done to the website? Yes, let's clean it up and let's add some things. So, and then, in asking Christina about certain things, I'm not sure how things are paid, like whether they're professional services or they go under marketing, that maybe that we take the website and put that under professional services, and then maybe put her under marketing, and maybe we're already doing that. I'm not quite sure when I look at this, how that's done financially. I know that for me, my business personally, and for most all businesses, social media is the way to go. And I like the fact that we want to do these lives. I think those would be very good. Reels are, I'll have to tell you, when I get my monthlies back, the reels are what do it. The reels are what people are watching and paying attention to. And you really have to know the timing and what you're doing. It's a whole thing. It looks simple, but it's really not.
It's a
And
mini
that's-
production.
It is, it really is. And so I just want to make sure that's something that this particular company is good at. I mean, I don't know if they are. I know they put out social media, and I know that they make posts and they do things like that. And I know in the past, Danielle, you've probably been doing most of that before, and you've done a great job at it and that. So,
So they're proposing 4 to 8 images posts per month. At least 1 video or reel per week. We would also include time to make additional graphic posts as needed. The creation of the weekly reel includes in-person recording, editing, and production. Do we think that's a good place to start, or are
I
you?
think it's a good place to start, but really, we should be posting daily. We should have a post
Well,
daily.
I think if that was gonna be like, you can media blast across multiple URLs the same post if you set it up to release at a certain time each day.
Right.
And to your question of whether or not they're good at what they're doing, we have a 500 or 105% increase, and she's not even using search engine optimization yet. So I would say what they're doing so far has made a difference. I was kind of wondering why they weren't doing the search engine optimization. That's what I would have done first, but we weren't paying them to do it. So it sounds like this new contract would mean that they would go in and do that, put in the keywords, put in the work on the Google Analytics, which is going to drive search engines to websites. Bloggers will be able to tag posts, and you'll be able to search it. And I think that'll show a substantial increase the next time we get one of these reports.
Well, this looks like if we do on the higher side of posts, if say we do 8 a month, so that's 2 times a week, and then you add in 1 video, so it's 2 posts and a video, so you're getting 3 things shot out for the week.
I think that would be a
At
good
this
place
point,
to
it's a good
start.
place to start. I see
think
what
it
you're
would-
saying, that constant is really good, but it's a good
It
starting.
goes back to old marketing. People have to see something 7 times, and it's never changed. In the
Well, and I think,
30-some years I've been in business, it's never changed.
no, marketing, I mean, it's
It's
the
a-
go-to for everything.
It is.
I'm with you 100%. I think that, you know, starting with the 3, seeing our reports coming in, and then if we see that 3 is working, there's nothing saying that we can't go back and say, hey, you know what, we really wanna see 7 posts a day.
Right.
What is that gonna look like? And if
Right.
we see that there's the ROI on it, then we can
Yeah.
add more to the budget,
And
but it's a good starting point, I think.
It really is, but I'd really like to see the website with the local events. It doesn't have to be our events that we're putting on, but the events that are happening around town
Yeah.
now, so that when somebody does go to our website, like this particular person did, there was nothing.
Yeah. Well,
And there isn't anything today because we haven't posted
We
anything
haven't-
yet
yeah. No,
on the website. So I'd like to see the website updated
Yeah.
with that particular thing, because I don't really think people understand all what is required from the DDA board and all the things that we all have to do. People like to see it, and all what they really see is that, what's happening. They want to see the events, they want to see things happening in town.
I agree 100%. I think, though, to be fair to Verona, they are not going to, I think, be in search of what to post. So this board needs to provide that information. I think to make it easy, we need to streamline through the executive director's office. But all of us should be, shooting her messages so that she can coordinate with Verona and make sure that those things are posted. Plus, I think we want to make sure that before something's posted on our site, that it does meet the requirements of what we can post.
Exactly.
So if we are just kind of sending it your way, then you're able to, or whoever's in your, in that office at some point, is able to filter through and say, yes, 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 ugh, this one we can't post, and is able to get that. So that's gonna kind of fall back on us, I think, to,
Would that be a good thing? Because I was made aware of the Facebook page for the DDA businesses. I didn't know we had that. Actually, the business across the street from me, Main Street Kitchen and Bar, told me about it. So one, I had no idea that we even had that.
I think that someone just created that, I believe.
Well, it was before Vintage Fest, it was before our last meeting, because they had, or not Vintage Fest, I'm sorry, Peach Festival. Because there were posts of Peach Festival on there, and we've had a meeting since, so, I was kind of surprised, to be quite honest with you, I was surprised about that. I think it's a great idea, and it'd be a great way for us to communicate, hey, can we post this, I'm doing this event, can this get posted? Because Verona is on that.
Well, who created
The other
it?
thing that would be pretty easy to do is.
So is it even ours?
Yeah, it
No.
is. It's, I had asked Verona to create that, but then included, Andrea and Danielle to say, okay, we need to reach out from here because I'm not friends with all of you on
Right.
Facebook. So you have to individually invite the individual owners of businesses, not necessarily the business page to.
It has to be the
site.
individual owner of that business.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly. So that's kind of like the little trick to it, right? But just kind of expecting really the board to kind of share that out from here to others that they know, to invite them to that page, because then we can, at a point, we can really start using that for all sorts of communication. Hey, did you know this was coming up? Just quick little note, right? Even if there was like, say, like a street closure for whatever reason, you could post it on there as well as other locations, but, having multiple places where you can communicate with businesses, I think, a little quicker, because email is not quick, unfortunately.
Right.
Businesses are not sitting in front of their computers and looking at their computers all day.
Sorry, Melissa.
No, that's okay. I was just saying that, in terms of being able to generate content as a business and have it shared, we could just tag the page and then they could review and repost anything that meets the criteria to be reposted.
So, and just for everyone to understand what we have going on right now, we do that to an extent. Right now, it's primarily myself. If I see that somebody has tagged us, as best as I can, I try to reshare it. If it's a business within the district,
Gotcha.
I cannot catch them all.
Is
Absolutely
that
not.
something that they could be doing though for us? or-
Well, to finish that, and it is something maybe, the other thing is that's really helpful is when an event is created by a business, and I know we have shared this with the businesses before, if they make the DDA a co-host, it automatically shows up on the DDA's Facebook event page as soon as we approve it. So there have been a few, Youngers is pretty good at that when they have their live, their music upstairs. They will tag us and make us a co-host. We can quickly approve that, and then it shows up on the DDA Facebook page as, here's an event happening in downtown. That's a quick and easy way.
Yeah, and if it's just a post, even
Right.
just tagging the DDA.
And that's
would
what
then
I try to,
alert us.
yeah, that's what I try to catch, and I try to share them. But kind of circling back around, I think this even speaks to the website and what you were saying. Without our permanent, executive director here to be able to cultivate this, it's all on our own time when we can get to it, right
we're
now.
paying for it.
Or, yeah.
And I would even,
So,
I'm not to interrupt you,
No.
but I would even say, even if we had a full-time executive director, someone tagging a post on a Saturday may not get seen. I mean, there is still, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, there's
Right.
normal business hours that people work.
Exactly.
And that person may, we may tag the Facebook page in an event I'm doing, they may be in a meeting and it may not be seen. So we have to have a little bit of, planning out for what are we hiring a company to do? And I don't think we want to pay someone to approve posts on our Facebook page. I think we want to pay someone to properly market us. If we're able to go in and click, yep, approve your post, that's secondary. That's not sending things out into the world to get us visitors to Romeo. So I think we just don't want to cloud the two together.
Right, and you can do that very easily, and that's why I'm asking, would this Facebook page be a good communication to Verona Marketing, Verona Creative, to say, I'm doing this event, and she can see that and then post it on the website? What is that type of communication? How do we want to get that information to Verona Creative?
We go through our executive director.
So so just go right through Christina, okay.
Because then
All
it's
right.
gonna give, if you're on Verona's side of it, or whatever company, if they know that on a weekly basis, I'm gonna get an email from the executive director with an update,
Okay.
is a heck of a lot easier than filtering through
True.
Facebook posts and messages and all that kind of stuff. This is a one-stop. We're able to better manage it. If someone says, hey, my thing didn't end up on there, the executive director can answer to that, what happened. If we're just sending stuff, we're kind of hoping that they're catching it all as
They
it's
don't have to
coming in.
tell you no, the director can tell you no.
Yeah, so, I think that we need to set that up as,
Yeah.
using that, director's office
Sure.
as the funnel to that company.
I think you also have to kind of be a little conservative in terms of how much you're posting too. You don't want to be posting every single thing all the time, because it's gonna, unfortunately, it's gonna get missed, and it's gonna actually drown out the more important messages. So you want to be a little bit more strategic throughout the week. Know and understand that unfortunately the algorithms are making it so that people don't see things until day 3 or day 4 sometimes. So you have to plan in advance for some of the things that you're posting. The reels and the lives are a different creature.
Yes.
That's what people are gonna see more immediately, but the static posts, not so much. Those will be a little bit more delayed.
Yes, that's why I'd like to see us update the web page with the events as much as we can, and get it out to the business owners in the DDA of what to do and how to do it, so that we can create that, so, we don't get those type of emails.
Yeah.
So how do we access the business Facebook page? What is that?
That was in your email, so there was a link in your email, and you should be able to
With the
just click
packet.
on that.
With the packet? Okay.
Yep, in the packet, that was emailed out.
Yeah.
And just click on that, and then once you're in, you can then share it out from there.
This proposed amendment is for how long?
Do you have it? Does it say?
It does not state.
I believe it
because
says till the remainder of the
Contract, which that's where I was not sure, because I did
Yeah.
not see where that
Well,
date was.
but I'd asked the contract, I thought was
Yeah.
up, and we're just being month to month.
Yeah.
So this would need some sort of
an end date, so we could do a 6-month contract,
I
or,
would suggest.
yeah. Okay. So I can amend my motion, for a 6-month agreement.
And then, I'm just gonna make the same point I think that I made when we first did this. We definitely need this, there's no question, I'm not questioning at all marketing. We did what we did originally, and thank you for Verona for stepping up, because we were a little bit overwhelmed. Danielle was really doing all of this essentially on her own, we needed some help. However, back then I said the same thing, is this the right time? We're talking about events, which we're not doing. You know, do we really have the information that we need to spend $2,683 for right now? We're in the middle of still working on getting a permanent executive director, who some of this is, again, that we had said beginning of the year, very well may, not necessarily for sure, but maybe under that person's umbrella. So I don't know if this is the right time to do this. So that leads me to the question, if we don't do this, does our contract end, we're done? Or
Well-
are we able to continue what we are right now, month to month?
Well, it'd be a new contract if the old contract is already up, so, could we create a new contract with more of what we feel like we might need right now, because we are in that interim for 6 months?
Yeah, are
Is
we
that what
still
you're talking, John?
That's what I'm saying, are we still at that point?
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
And then also, at what point do we put this out for bid, because we have all of our ducks in a row, and we're ready to go, we have an executive director, we've got a facility to
So if
funnel
we
information
continue with them
to the
for
right
another
people.
month and give us time to put something together.
Okay, so let me just answer a couple questions. So I think kind of going off of what Kathy said, now is always the time to do marketing. I think that that's a yes for me across the board. There's, you know, whether or not, the DDA was never supposed to be this, you know, event churner. So whether or not we have an event to advertise.
Like us have the event.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, you know, that's not really what we're supposed to be doing as our main item. So we have new businesses coming to town, we've got more new businesses coming to town, we've got businesses in town that are growing and expanding. And I think just our job is to promote the DDA district, and we have to do that through marketing. I think that this contract here, and the parts in it came about based on what we have been going to Verona with. So they're kind of responding to the, hey guys, you've been asking for X, Y, and Z, this is things we need to add to it. I think that, you know, we have the funding available. I also, personally, I don't think we should base it on if and when we have a permanent executive director. We have an executive director right now, and it's an interim, but she's with us until the position's filled. And I think regardless of who's in that seat, the board needs to direct the vision and where the DDA is gonna go, through the vehicle of the executive director. So, you know, whether it's Christina or someone else, we're still responsible with spending the money appropriately and marketing and bringing what we need to the district. I think that, you know, possibly doing a 6-month agreement, and, you know, over the next 6 months, let's critique it. You know, what changes do we wanna see? And, you know, in fairness to whoever it is, we can't pay for 4 hours and expect 20 hours worth of work, right? So if we want all these extra bells and whistles, which I think we do, then we need to pay for it.
And we don't
as
want a
well.
new director, a full-time coming in with this to hear. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have something like that off your plate while you're really learning that nitty-gritty
Yep.
important,
And then
it's not
we can
important.
always come back and say, you know what, we wanna see more here. Maybe we come back and we say, you know what, we've realized 4 reels a month is too much. You know,
Yeah.
maybe we could save some money there, but we can put it somewhere else. But I think that we owe it to the taxpayers to market the downtown. And I think that we get more bang for our buck with something like this than a one-off event. This is kind of putting together those full marketing programs. It's marketing the district as a whole, and everything that's going with it. And I agree, we need to have better event postings. We need to have a better job and, you know, get some more reels out there. But cart or horse, and we gotta do something. We can't
Right.
get it without paying for it.
And I think, for me personally, I would just like a more specific, and that's where I guess I go with the à la carte and hourly thing, because I would like to know, okay, how much, we could go back to Verona Creative and say, okay, how much is it, how many hours is it gonna take you to update the website for the events that we have coming from now until the end of the year, you know, from the businesses. And then that way they could give us an idea, and then we can decide, okay, yeah, go ahead and do that. The reels are important, so maybe we just start out with maybe doing one reel a week and maybe one live a month, or whatever we think. We have to do something, we can't just let this go. But I think maybe, I know I would feel more comfortable if I had right in front of me exactly what we're going to tell them to do and how much it's gonna cost. Because I know that, because it is going up in price, and I'm kind of with John on that. Do we kind of want to,
I think that
Monitor
this
that.
is pretty,
well, I haven't had an opportunity to look at that.
do you want?
I've
So
got
I
one,
think,
I didn't.
and I think the one thing we want to be careful, and I'm not, certainly not speaking for Verona, but
Yeah.
typically à la carte's going to be more expensive at the end of the day. Because if we have an actual program, then they're able to plan out. If we're gonna say every single week or every single month, now we want you to do a reel about this, and that's gonna make more work on their end, which is gonna end up costing us more.
Okay.
And that's, if the board wants to do that, I'm not saying it's not a discussion we can
Right.
have, but if we have an overall marketing program and they've got the ability to work the hours associated within these parameters, it's gonna keep our costs down
Okay.
than à la carting.
So what
every
you're
item.
saying is let's say whatever we've been paying, the $14.97
Yeah,
a month, we will get more for that than just doing the individual à la carte. I guess I would feel more comfortable if they could come here and tell us that, like, okay, this is what you're going to get for this amount of money.
Well, I
So
think
that we
it's
can ask
here.
them questions and back and forth. Do you
I mean,
think that's,
I think it's here,
do you think it's there? Okay, I'm sorry, I haven't had the
yeah, no,
opportunity
yeah, I mean,
to look at it,
it's
so I don't know.
here, in what we're getting, so it's,
It's pretty good and itemized for the additions in what they're going to be providing, in my personal opinion.
yeah, I mean, I think,
Would you mind just, then let's go through it.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Is that okay?
yeah, you wanna take the lead on it, or you wanna?
Yeah,
Yeah, you have-
so
you know the
it's-
terminology.
it looks like the first thing is going to be the search engine optimization, content optimization, so local content creation, develop blog posts, news articles highlighting events, businesses and community updates to improve engagement and search relevance. Directory listings, to ensure local businesses are accurately listed and optimized on the site's directory, enhancing visibility for local searches. On-page SEO, which is search engine optimization, regular update meta titles, description, keyword for existing pages, ensuring they align with current search trends. That's really huge, because anytime a new hashtag or keyword is invented, like based off of trends, like all platforms, then that's what people start looking for, so they're saying they're gonna go through and like add those as trends appear. Technical site audit, conduct monthly audits to identify and fix technical issues such as broken links, slow page speeds, and mobile usability problems, which is also a pretty big deal, because like if you've got a ton of dead-end links and you've got cookies, it stalls your page out, people go to click on stuff and they get, they get misdirected to something that isn't there anymore, so you have to go through and you have to clean all those up, you have to make them go away. Implement and update local business markup to enhance how the site appears in search results. Local SEO and backlinking, Google My Business optimization, so regularly update the GMB profile with new photos, posts, and accurate business information.
That they currently are not doing that.
Yeah, that I can tell from the thing that they weren't doing that, so that's a big thing too, because then when we implement the parking thing, and we wanna let people know that the parking fee is different or off or whatever, that'll be updated on the Google, so when they Google, you'll be able to have a link to go to events, time changes, things like that, whatever we want really. Ensure consistent NAP, so name, address, phone information across all local directories and encourage local businesses to gather positive reviews. Backlink strategy, develop relationships with local bloggers, newspapers, community sites, and gain backlinks. So the backlinks is like, if I write an article and I tag Romeo Peach Fest, I can create a hyperlink in my article that will send it to a landing page so that people can end up on like Romeo Peach Fest and see any other content that we've generated for that landing page. Based on this plan, 10 hours per month could be a reasonable allocation depending on the depth and frequency of these activities. It's important to periodically review the site's performance metrics and adjust the strategy as needed to ensure continuous improvement. Additional hours can be recommended in the future. So, and then they go in to talk about like the paid advertising and how the paid advertising would work, which that is what, if from my understanding, would be a la carte right now, and not necessarily, not within the proposed monthly fees, but if we wanted to do
Well, that's
a
pay
live.
Google.
Yeah, paying Google,
Yeah.
paying Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, and then, or, you know, going live and things like that. So, and then the one-time ad setup fee, like, once you have like a template built, it's pretty easy to change out things and add stuff, and so that's where that extra $582 comes in. I personally don't see a problem with what they're offering to do for the $3,235. I think that if we get through this 6 months and we're doing a lot of live events and things like that, then it might be in 6 months we revisit adding into the budget like an allotment of how many lives and things like that, so that, like, I forget who was saying, it wouldn't be so much compared to a la carte.
Let me ask you this, so if, in doing this, how do you think that they, so for instance, we're not all gonna have the time to go on and watch this and see if this is done.
Right.
What would your suggestion be to them showing us, okay, this is what we've done, this is the actual, what
Right.
we've done
Well,
this
they say
past
that
month?
they're gonna do monthly reviews, so we could ask for
Reviews,
that.
but, yeah, but
Well,
are
so-
they gonna say, all right, these are the 4 reels we did, and these are.
Yeah, and they can
Well, I
show
guess-
performance.
Yeah, my question, what do we want them to show us?
Yeah,
What,
we can
what
see
do you
per-
think, Kathy? I mean, what do you
I
think?
would like to see, because if I don't catch it, if I'm not like on my phone all the time looking for it, but I wanna make sure that it happens. So for instance, I just wanna see what they've actually done for that month.
So they can print out exactly this. This is performance data. You can have, like, anybody who, well, I don't know what.
How about a
they might-
screenshot of the Facebook post?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They can print us out something like this that would show us the analytics.
Right.
So if we have the analytics, we can see if we're trending up or down. If the number is in green, like it is here, it shows
Yeah,
that
I
we
know
are
what, I
up.
know what the analytics
Yeah.
are and all that, but what I'm saying, just for us physically, to
Right.
see this reel, and it's, or this
Yeah, we
post.
can ask for
got
yeah,
500.
analytics.
It's right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
This
yeah,
says
that's the page.
Facebook
There it is.
analytics posts published, 21.
Okay,
This is the top
Post
performing
reaction,
post.
641.
that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Post reach, that's in the packet.
This is in the packet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can see post videos, 0.
Right.
We're not doing that right now.
Right.
So the videos are 0.
And if you flip to that behind, it shows you the top performing post for the
Top
time
performing
period.
post
Right. So I was imagining when they said
and
monthly
Instagram.
check-in that this is what we would get.
Instagram.
Yeah.
It shows you for Instagram what
Yeah.
it is.
So that would be presented to us on a monthly basis.
Right.
You know, and then we can say, hey, these posts are working, these posts are not, whatever, you know, and then we
Yeah,
can.
because then we know.
Yeah.
'Cause then we'll know.
Yeah, so
Us-
that's, they are
because
providing
if we know,
that.
then we'll say yes, or we'll say, eh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it could get super detailed. I mean, there's even information in here based on what time people are logging on and viewing our posts. So then we can sit there and say, don't make a post until after 4 o'clock, nobody's online.
They're busy,
You
they're at
can
work.
also, even with the Facebook, which is on the back here, Facebook ad post, you know, and you could do it for a couple bucks a day, but we can even specifically market, we want this many miles from Romeo, we want this demographic, we want people between the ages of 40 and 65 to get hit with this post.
Yeah.
And that's all part of, you know, what they would be presenting.
Okay. Because,
And I just want to make sure that, you know, that we are also hiring them for their expertise in this, you know, this field. So, you know, obviously if we see that something's not working, certainly can point that out and, you know, but I wouldn't expect this board to tell them, you know, what times and those like, that I would
Yeah,
expect
that's what
them
we're
to
like,
be
know
that, yeah, they would be doing.
they
yeah,
will know that,
yeah.
Yes.
I guess my question in the motion that was made, the second part where it says the one-time fee set up 582 Google ads, and the 4 live social media, I know we talked about that being a la carte, but in this motion, it sounds like we're approving all of that, and all of that is going to happen. Is that how I'm reading it?
That's,
Up to 4,
Yeah.
Okay,
so you can determine whether or not you use all
Right.
4.
but that's what the motion is right now, all of that would happen.
correct, with, and the only thing I would add to that now is if we want to do a 6-month agreement.
Okay.
So we've got some sort of
And
an
then I
end
did-
date to reevaluate.
Yeah, I did like, I mean, our $250 a month for advertising is gonna go way further in Facebook and Instagram than it is gonna go in print.
On a newspaper.
It just is.
Yeah.
And we were doing that before, so that really isn't any extra money that we weren't already spending before.
Just
We're just
moving it.
spending it a different
We're
way
just
for
moving it, yep.
advertising,
Yeah.
so
We're being
I
more
was, yeah,
effective,
I was happy with that.
Was it included in the motion to do any live events?
Yes,
Yes.
that's the very last line.
Yeah.
Up to 4.
Up to 4 live social media videos.
No,
So
I'm
that-
talking, there's an option for live events. Like it says in here, like literally showing up that day for the event.
Yes, that's what it's referring to.
Yeah.
Gotcha, same thing.
For a live
so
social media.
that,
So that
I thought
1408
that
is
was
included
shooting
in the
the live.
3235.
No.
No,
It's
that's
It's
an
in
addition to.
addition, but all,
In addition.
the motion, the way it's right now, all of that would happen.
So we would have all of the stuff that kind of Missy just outlined for us,
For
plus
3235.
the additional $250 for those targeted posts. Who do we want to make sure these posts are going out to on Facebook? Outside of what was written here, if we did need more time on the website, it would be at the $98. We'll agree to the one-time setup fee for Google Ads, and then up to 4 live social media videos through the end of the contract totaling $1,408.
And you're adding a 6-month
For
on
the
there on
next
your
6
motion?
months. Yep, so we would reevaluate in 6 months. We can cancel it, continue it, change it,
can we
expand it.
request a monthly report then? as
Yeah, that's
well?
in here that they would
Is
provide that.
Okay.
If I can just correct, I'm sorry, unless I misheard you, Marty, it's not 3235.
No.
No, it's not.
2683.
Yep.
It's this one right here, the front.
So currently, we have a motion and a second. And if there's any more discussion, otherwise we can go to vote.
Do a roll call?
Yeah, does anyone else have anything they want to discuss before we go?
One more, sorry. So thank you, John, yes, 2683, then plus the 1408 if we decide to do the live.
Yeah, we are agreeing to do the 4 lives in this
Right.
agreement. Yep.
Plus the $250 per month, plus the $582 one-time setup.
That was my next question,
Yep.
yes.
I continue with my second to tack on the 6-month.
Thank you. So a motion and a second.
That was for the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then on the friendly amendment, let's do that one first for the 6 months. St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
No?
Putnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznansky,
Yes.
Van Wormer.
Yes.
And then for the original motion, St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Putnick,
Yes.
Oswald, Well, you guys are testing my nasal passages. All right, motion passes.
All right. Next item is weeding and mulching cost share. So the village is requesting the DDA to assist in a cost share on the weeding and mulching of areas within the district this past summer. The total cost was $2,520. So the recommendation is to authorize the DDA to share in the cost of weeding and mulching services that were conducted by the village contractors performed in the summer of 2024 in the amount of 50%, which is $1,260 of the total cost of $2,520.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so a motion by Danielle. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, motion on the second. Anyone from the public like to speak on this item? Okay,
Going forward, I would like to see us getting some sort of constant, it's kind of been up in the air for quite a few years of who does what, who takes care. For the past, prior to this, Carl Brandt would go out and mulch, and if the DDA paid for it, then he'd put it out. Last year, I got it donated, and we put it out together. I'd like to see us have a consistent, and then also the timing of it. Kind of, I can't recall if it was beginning of June, my request was, hey, pay attention to the weeds, spray, and have fresh mulch down by Peach Fest. So they kind of got it in when they could. That's why our price is also so low, is that I said, when you have time, when it's a rain day and you can't be somewhere else, come weed. I don't know how we want to do it going forward, but that we could have it taken care of and addressed and have maintenance done throughout the season, and then have fresh mulch for the whole season when,
I totally agree. I think that going into, maybe we can have it on a future agenda item of budgeting that money and working with the village to see when's it gonna happen. And I agree, let's have it looking good year-round, or for the whole season.
yeah, and I don't know if you want us to continue to carry it and ask for cost share, then you're kind of beholden to whatever find or do.
Yep.
I don't know if you got, however we do it, I just would like us to address it. So next year we
Out of the
have a
game.
game plan.
Yeah, I agree.
Have we been doing this every year?
No, what I'm saying is it gets done. It hasn't gotten done this year like this until this year.
But you're saying, are we doing the cost sharing every year? Have we done the cost share?
Correct.
No,
Right.
because last year I got the mulch donated from a local business or place, and people volunteered their time to put it out. And then also it only addressed certain spots. There was another time a past board member was out over by Marty's weeding and mulching. Kind of have just, it hasn't been
A little
tracked.
haphazard.
The DDA used to carry this many years ago, and then it just has fallen off through the changes.
Fully agree, we need a plan of action going forward. I don't know if you remember, but there was a motion made for the DDA to do the DDA district, which didn't happen because the village was taking care of it. I'm not big on going backwards. This is already done, so that's my.
The
that's
thing
my
is, the
point.
village wasn't taking care of it.
I'm sorry?
The village wasn't taking care of the flower beds and the weeding all around the district. It was getting done by people volunteering.
And therefore, the DDA needs to put together a plan of action. I agree.
However we do it, I just would like us to be unified and making these improvements, and we can both go in together. There's no need to, well, it's in your district or it's
And-
your thing, or.
And my suggestion to what you mentioned as far as does the village carry it and the DDA share or vice versa, I think the village should probably carry it because I'm gonna assume there's more areas than the DDA, so pricing might be a little better. If
We
the
could
village goes
try to
in-
see to add it into the lawn mowing.
Exactly, other areas
something.
that are not within the DDA get a good price and then the DDA would take care of would share in their portion.
We could. That's the company I used, was who we currently use for lawn. I
Any
will
further
take your point.
discussion? All right, we can take roll call.
St. Maureen?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Rose?
No,
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Van Wormer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Moving on to interim executive director service extension. So our executive director services are ending on October 15th, and it is recommended to extend services on a monthly basis through December 15th. Executive director search is well underway. Interviews are set up for the middle of the month in October. And depending on the outcome of these interviews, the DDA potentially will have a candidate to approve at the November board meeting. This extension will allow for us to extend that offer, finalize a contract with the new director, and establish all necessary employment files to begin. And the monthly interim service fee is $7,500. So the recommendation is to approve the extension of the interim executive director services with POW Strategies through December 15th, 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Perfect. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? All righty. Any board discussion? Okay, in absence of board discussion, we can go ahead and take a roll call.
St. Lauren,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes?
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
and Van Wormer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Sticking around a little longer.
A little bit more.
All righty. Next item is the EV tip grant.
Did we skip holiday decor?
Did I? Oops, I'm sorry. No.
Does it say mine?
Oh,
It's just in the packet differently, I
Yeah,
think.
the agenda is a slightly different order than.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
It's okay.
Floral contract is next on the agenda, I think. It's just not in this part.
I think you got holiday decor installed.
I have holiday
I have
decor.
holiday, decor is next.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong section.
Where did it go? Did I miss that?
Well, see, I have C and then D is,
Page
EV
36
tip.
and 37.
what's going on?
Okay, so holiday decor, well, it's listed here
many.
twice under holiday decor install contract.
Aha.
Yeah, you know what?
And
It's,
then-
it's under, unfortunately, it's under, the information is in 9F.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know why it's an F. Now that I'm looking at this.
No, I got it in 9H or
Yeah.
8D.
It should be, on the agenda, it flows under 9H, but unfortunately, in the overview, the lettering didn't concur,
Oh.
which I was trying to be correct on, and I didn't. So that one, the holiday decor installation, if you go to page 6 in your packet, you will see there, we did put out a quote for the holiday decor installation, and we received 2 quotes, as well as 2 others that declined to provide quotes. They were greatly different, but I'm confident with the lower price one. I'm familiar with the company, they've done work in many other communities and cities and all over the place. So, I'm very comfortable with, their performance as well. Their quote was for $9,500. That would include installation, maintenance during, if anything were to come detached or need to get replugged in, and then removal of the holiday decor. There would be a 20% deposit due prior to the installation. Obviously getting going on this is.
And the $9,500 is within our original budget that we had for winter decor
Correct.
of the 70s. So our 54 or whatever we paid for the holiday decor,
Yep.
plus this does not exceed our original
Right.
70,000.
So your original budget was 70,000. The decor that we just ordered was just shy of 55,000. We do still need to order some of the birch, but that's gonna be nominal. So yes, so you'll be under your budgeted amount.
Okay. And removal of the holiday decor, will they be taking that back to DPW and,
Yes, and
Putting
that
it
was
away?
also part of my conversation with the DPW director is then where does that go? So I think that it would be good for us to go over to the yard, figure out where the
Clean out
current
the-
stuff is.
Clean out your cubby.
And clean out the stuff we don't need, right?
Yeah, okay.
And this is going to be substantially larger, so, you know, we'll need to determine,
okay.
um,
But they will be
Proper
bringing
placement.
it back there?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not taking
The
it with them.
DDA can build a shed
Yeah.
for its thing.
Okay, then I would make a motion to approve that contract with Zorro's Christmas Lights for the amount of $9,500.
I'll second.
I like that there's a selfie station.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
I'm sorry. Kathy, was that you that second?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any public discussion?
On behalf of the Historical Society, I just want to thank you for the donation. I also want to ask when will the decorations go up?
They'll be going up between November 1st and the 15th.
If we should do December.
Of November,
Not December.
not December,
Oh,
November.
I'm going into,
Yeah. November.
You'll be
Okay.
Where, I've never heard of Zorro's. Where are they located?
Oh, gosh, kind of the west side of the, Metro Detroit area. I want to say they were like right around, Livonia, I think. I'd have to look again.
Yeah.
I
I've just
apologize.
I've just never
I
heard
feel like
of
they're
them.
all over the place, honestly, because I
Yeah.
see them, doing work just in so many places and communities, so. And large light displays too, so.
They
it's
know what
something-
they're dealing with
Yeah.
us, with what we've got.
Mhm, yeah.
Okay. Any conversation on the motion?
I have one concern, and actually, I think Christina and I have spoken about this. It discusses remove any old, other previous hardware that may prohibit new installation. Because of this holiday decor, we've changed what we did last year, and all of those rings, all of that hardware needs to come down. So I'm assuming that means
Yep.
this company's going to do that.
Mhm.
My concern, though, is putting it back up, because there's been no discussion as to it going back up, who's putting it back up. In the past, when this has come down, I can just speak from experience, because we used to take it all the way down. It was a process getting it back up. Bolts were stripped or rusted, and there was a lot of money spent in just simply getting these things back installed. So I don't want that to go unsaid, and then we come along to spring and we can't do our spring florals because there's no hardware. So, was there a discussion of them reinstalling whatever they take down? Or was
Not
it-
reinstalling the floral decor. And I think as I
Not the
probably know.
decor, but the hardware.
The hardware, yes, but I think that your company that's installing the floral decor should really be responsible for installing that, or you get another company that just handles all the hardware. And I say that only because those who are gonna be handling that product are gonna know better where that placement's gonna go, right? When they're doing it. If you have a different company that's not gonna be putting in the baskets, and not really understanding the better placement of that, I think they'll have some challenges back and forth there.
I agree, removing them is gonna be a challenge. My problem with the company that's gonna put them back up now is gonna have, well, the other person broke this or broke that. Now we have to spend money to replace hoops or rings or brackets or bolts.
Does our current
Blame game.
floral contracted Vans Valley, have they done that in the past, installing the baskets back? I know we didn't contract them to do it, but have they done that work?
I don't think they
Well,
have,
last year, I
the
don't
previous
think-
contractor did.
I know, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
is have they ever done it?
I don't think Vans Valley has. The previous contractor before them that did that installation, I believe,
Did,
did. Because at one time, those came down every
right,
year.
right,
So, no, I don't believe Vans Valley has.
okay.
I mean, ideally, it would be best if that company did both, right? Took them down,
I
put
agree.
them up. But it wasn't in the current contract with Vans Valley to do that. So,
And again, it wasn't because it was taken out, because we had changed it.
Right.
So that's just a concern of mine. It's gonna become spring, and, I don't know if anybody has a suggestion how to handle that.
Yeah, and they also need to be stored somewhere also.
They've gotta be stored, and then, like I said, from what I've been told, they get stripped and some,
Well, I would say that when they're taking them down, we should probably have an inventory conducted, so we can see, you know, what are we being given back? And if there is any damage, then obviously we'd have to either address that with, did the company taking them down damage them? You know, was it just truly wear and tear? And then we'll have to,
so can we maybe make a note, and whether, even if it's myself, get a contact, and before we begin that process? I mean, I'm willing to volunteer to talk with them and, you know, maybe just go on site and help and watch and inventory and so forth. Maybe that might
okay.
ease the pain a little bit come spring.
And
And
then
then-
in the
I don't know where they're
meantime,
gonna go for storage, I'm not gonna store them, but I can have.
they
this,
don't fit in the coffee house.
Because you have a basement now.
Yeah, we have a basement.
And then we could order what we need and have it back in,
So we're
in
ready.
stock.
Right.
If
Yeah.
something breaks when it comes down, which is fine, we'll be prepared for storage.
Yeah, then we know what we have to get before we're trying to put baskets.
And
Can we
then
work it
any,
into the floral contract?
well, as I was gonna say is, and
You're
then
gonna
the
do an
next step
addendum.
to do an addendum or an RFQ for somebody to reinstall them. Because if Vance Valley doesn't do that, or is not willing to do that, we can't change his contract. Now, we already have a
We'll
contract
have to
with him.
bring in
We'll
a
have to
company to
find
do it.
somebody else.
So, I guess my only point is, we've had the discussion, we'll take whatever steps we can to minimize it for this year, and we're prepared to know if it comes back to the table, because we need something, why?
Good looking out.
All right. So I believe we have a motion and a
Yes.
second?
yes, you do.
Okay.
So, do you want to call it, or any other? Okay.
I think we're good, okay.
Okay, sorry. St. Lawrence,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes,
Putnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
and Van Warmer.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, now we can go back to our grants.
Yeah, back to the grant, yes.
Go back up there. And I will let you, Christina, speak on this one.
Sure, sure. And, you know, feel free to jump in.
A lot of information here.
Because I kind of like entered in halfway into this process a little bit.
Do you want me to read this? I know you were
Yeah. You wanna-
struggling reading.
I know, I'm just like
Yeah.
feeling like I've got like
Yeah.
work on my nose.
So the EV tip grant, the Village of Romeo, I'll just read this for the benefit of the people who are here. The Village of Romeo is benefiting from a grant partnership with the University of Michigan Economic Growth Institute to conduct an attractions strategic plan and wayfinding for Romeo. Following the recent closure of the Ford engine plant, the Village of Romeo has been discussing and revitalizing efforts supported by investment from the state of Michigan for community economic development. Using infrastructure to spur economic growth, this project would address the need for an effective attraction strategy and include wayfinding signage recommendations essential for promoting businesses and attractions and enhancing navigability for visitor traffic. This strategy aims to boost the local economy and stimulate community vibrancy. This project aims to achieve the following objectives: to create a welcoming and navigable environment that promotes local businesses, reflects its historic significance, and enhances the overall quality of life for residents and visitors alike. It will promote economic development, so encourage new business ventures and attract investors by creating a vibrant and supportive environment for economic growth. Foster partnerships between local businesses and the community to drive economic activities and job creation. It will promote local business and attractions, highlight and boost the visibility of local businesses and cultural sites to encourage exploration and support economic development. And provide a clear and attractive signage to guide visitors, residents, and employees to shopping, dining, parking, landmarks, locations of interest, and parks. Will also improve navigation and accessibility. recommended cohesive and intuitive wayfinding system to help visitors and residents easily locate key destinations and assets in the CBD, such as parking, commercial areas, historical sites, parks, and municipal buildings. Engage with the Village of Romeo's Downtown Development Authority and Village of Romeo government leadership to advise on the location of types of signs. Recommendations should include the addition, removal, or repair of existing signage and prioritization wayfinding signage for those entering the CBD. Ensure that signage recommendations are accessible to all individuals, including those with disabilities, by adhering to ADA standards. And then it will ensure sustainable and cost-effective solutions. So they will develop a attraction strategy that is both cost-effective and sustainable, considering long-term maintenance and replacement costs, utilize environmentally friendly materials and practices wherever possible. The Romeo DDA has actively been engaging in the development and review of this RFP. 7 proposals were received and evaluated by the team, including the village president, Megan Poznansky, Danielle Lee, Christina Shepard-Ishis, and the U of M Economic Growth Institute representatives Mary Amerman and Carmen Wells-Quake. The committee recommends accepting the proposal from Crimson, which you have in your packet here, in the amount of $79,680, and making the recommendation to Village Council to support this proposal. This $79,000 is under the amount that the grant is, so the DDA would not be paying this amount. That's just what the proposal is, or the grant that was received will cover all of that. And I have to thank Mary and Carmen. They wanted to be here tonight, but they couldn't be here tonight. All of the work that they put into this, it was a lot of work and a lot of effort on their part. And to see what this proposal from Crimson, what it could do for our area is amazing. I'm really excited about this, and I think this is going to be a great addition to what we're already doing to try to attract people to town. And really, you know, what we've been talking about with the parking, the wayfinding, you know, having cohesive signs throughout the village, it's going to be pretty awesome. So if you have any questions, if you had a chance to look through, it's a pretty lengthy presentation that Crimson put together.
That's great.
The only thing, the digital walking tour that they've got, it's an interactive digital walking tour.
What page are you on?
I am on page 65. They're talking about that. We had that girl here last month who's doing something. I wonder if that could be incorporated. She was doing more like an augmented reality type walking tour.
And these were, like some of the marketing tactics were ideas.
Yeah, not
So
everything
it's not
in
necessarily what they're
here.
gonna do.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, I
but,
saw
yeah.
that it was.
But it was
not
it was a great
yeah.
stimulation of ideas, though.
Yeah.
But I think it's neat that there's already a possibility, and then she's working on something like that. Maybe it could be expanded upon.
I agree, Missy, I like that memory lane presentation. I was thinking the same thing, that we could incorporate that, I mean, always have it. What a great thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
And just be able to promote that. People love that. Walking and, you know, they wanna know what it has been and what is now, yes.
What are, if this is approved by the board, what are next steps and when would we plan to see this actually come into play?
So
So which page in here? There's a whole,
pretty quickly,
this will be completed by spring, March.
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and then the parking maps, like in this
Remember.
beautiful photo right here, the things that we were already talking about implementing for the paid parking, free parking, like that could be incorporated with this and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is great.
Andrew, I think it's at 61, 62?
Page 72 lays out the
70?
project
Okay.
plan.
72.
You know, it's month 1 is the initial research and stakeholder engagement. So they'll come and have a kickoff meeting, initial, market research, site analysis, workshops, focus groups, launch community surveys, so they're gonna, talk with the community. Month 2 is to, the completion of the research, strategy development. Month 3 is refining, all the information. And then month 4 is finalizing the wayfinding and the marketing plans. So,
And then in this 4-month process, would we get an idea of what maintenance would be financially after the grant runs out? Like if there's upkeep, like changing the signs, it sounds like while the grant is in place, like a new business moves in, they change the signs. After this grant is done,
What does that look like?
That's
What
your
is that?
sustainability component, I think.
Yeah.
Like in that RFP part. It's like, well, what is going to be your long-term maintenance
Right.
overall? As well as, you could have a phased approach for your wayfinding installation
Okay.
potentially as well.
So if we approve this and we, move forward to the village council has a final approval, is
Yes.
that the
Yep.
setup? Okay.
Yep, so this would be just.
Your
this-
support.
Yeah, this would be our support.
And
So
then
the DDA board is saying, yes, we support this, if this is approved, and then, it would go to the village for final approval.
Who will take this to the village?
I will.
Will there be a presentation at your meeting by Danielle?
Yeah, that would be nice. I know we talked about Carmen,
I
or
think
Mary being
Carmen
there.
might
there.
be able
And I
to be
can't
there for
remember,
that one.
one of them could, and I don't remember which one. So they will be there to speak, because this is kind of all culmination. I mean, we've been working on this year and a half to get it. There was quite a lengthy process to even get to the choice of what the project was gonna be.
This was one of our,
Yes.
our
Yes.
winners, so to speak,
Yes.
for
Strategic.
the strategic
Yep,
plan.
so this is-
I just wanted to make the two points. One, it has to do with, and this, I'd like this to be made to the village. This whole, parking's only a very small part of what we're looking at here, but the parking subcommittee and the parking discussions that the village DDA together have been having, and again, thank you, and as far as the board goes, to Danielle for sort of spearheading as far as the DDA part of it. The point's been made multiple times when we've had some pushback. The parking is gonna take a multi-plan solutions. This is one of them, which I've been asked before, hey, you guys wanna do paid parking, well, what happened to this multi-plan solution? Well, here's another one. So I want that hopefully made to the village as well. And then also, what we're looking at here, this is what should be on the business Facebook. This is what whoever, I'm not sure who's running.
Oh, the business
The
group
business
page?
Facebook page.
Yeah, I have to
mean,
look at that.
I think it's perfect to
Get
put
people
on there to
excited.
let people know, and
And know about
if
these.
there's gonna be any input, they've gotta
Yeah,
give
yeah,
it to
come to a
us.
meeting.
We're not gonna go to every single person, they've gotta come to us and say, yeah, I saw this, I've got a couple ideas.
And can come to the village meeting, but also, yes, if they wanna be involved in any way, they need to step
Right.
up.
Yep.
So after, if they're.
And then we can
signs not
grab
up or
them
what
and put
have
them
you.
on the board permanently.
Before they get away.
I'll make a motion to approve the grant, review.
Do that first.
I will second. Anyone have anything they'd like to say? All right. All right, any further discussion from the board before we go to vote?
Good job.
And thank you
Yes.
guys for your
Yeah,
time.
I
I know
love it.
that
Looks
this is
awesome.
free, but we are still donating hours.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being willing to do that.
Since it is financial, or since it's not financial, do you want it still as a
Let's do it just to
roll
be,
call?
yeah.
Okay.
Just funsies.
St. Lawrence,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Osnansky,
Yes.
Van Wormer.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Great. Next item is Winterfest. The board needs to determine if it plans to host Winterfest event for 2025. What the details of the event would be. The cross-country coach has reached out and is interested in doing a 5K again this year. We have not budgeted for Winterfest this year, so if that is something that we want to do, we will have to make note of that and make a budget adjustment. And several months ago, we did say that if there was going to be any events, that a member of the board does need to be on the cheering event for. So if there is a board member that would like to take Winterfest and make it happen for this year.
So I just want to clarify at this point in terms of your events for the year. Your budget is 28,000. You have 98, almost 99% of it left because you really only started your fiscal year.
Right.
But then you would, you still need to think or factor in Vintage Fest and the cost for Vintage Fest, and knowing that those costs were a little bit more than what would be on paper because there were things that were outside of the budget, right?
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at somewhere around, I think, maybe 13? 12?
12 or
13?
13.
Didn't we earmark
13,000.
10 for each of the two events?
Yes.
Okay. Going forward, I thought we did 10 for Vintage and 10 for Shakespeare.
I don't know if that was big for me.
Well, I mean,
But still, I mean, yes.
yeah, in any event, the coach reached out to me. So I have not responded to him yet. So I guess if someone wants to take that on, this board can certainly set a budget for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what did you spend last year? I think I looked really quickly and I was hoping it printed, but it didn't. I wanna say it was somewhere around like 5,000 to 7,000.
I was gonna say 6.
Yeah,
so.
I think that sounds about right. I think, and the money I don't think is of an issue. We definitely have it to spend. It's more about, does someone want to take this project on and chair the event?
Didn't we talk about doing away with either Winterfest or Vintage Fest and not doing one or the other?
Correct. And so, when we, what we had discussed was just
You're gonna leave right now.
literally having two events, putting the chunk of our money and having two really good events. And that's where we came up with the Vintage and then the Shakespeare. So that's what we originally discussed, although we can't change that.
Right.
But,
The other option, the reason I also bring it up is, any money that was put into it by the DDA to help with the 5K specifically was nominal. And that is really the attraction that we've seen in the last couple of years. That's when all the people came, was the 5K. So that is a possibility also. If somebody wants to just help coach still do that, we can help support him in that way.
that would be a neat live to
Didn't we
do.
talk, refresh my memory, winter weekends and not making it a one-day, one-off, like it
So
was
the-
this growing,
Yeah, and it was kind of what the board had discussed was originally it was a one-day event. It was fabulous the first year, weather was great. Second year, it was icy cold, not so great. Then we decided to try to just make it this winter's. It didn't seem, the feedback that we got was that it really wasn't any more for the merchants in town than any other weekend
Okay.
in the winter. And the board kind of decided to get away from the little kind of ones and twos events. But to kind of what Danielle's saying, if someone wants to just work and bring that 5K downtown and maybe partner on that front, and that's something that the DDA can promote and advertise and support, because you're right, that's what brought the people to town, was the 5K. And if we wanted to help, financially with that, and definitely be promoting it, that'd be a great thing to send to Verona as kind of something happening in the winter.
but if we're talking one or the other, do we need to have that conversation?
That's kind of what I was thinking, is
Yeah.
like before we can say we want to do Winterfest, we probably have to decide if we want to do Vintage Fest.
Yeah, I mean, it's, so, and I guess the question would be, and again, it can change at any time, but just to kind of give some feedback of what had happened before is, everyone said that Winterfest was a dud, and Vintage Fest was the moneymaker of the two events, so,
I think we have to decide what we want to do, like for the whole year, and just, I know that we decided to do Shakespeare for next year for, was it September? So, we definitely want to do that, it's gonna be our first, so we'll see how
Right.
that goes. One of the things that I would like us to do, and I've talked about this before, is maybe add another level to the sponsorship. So, like, for instance, some of these events can be self-funding. I know that with what we have now, they can sponsor and put the money into the DDA in the way that is, and I always direct anybody to that, with that. But again, I have another email from a business, but there are businesses, they want, in asking them this, they want to sponsor specific events with
And
that. So do
that's-
we
We could
look
revisit
at
it.
that?
I
Do we
mean-
do that?
I mean, that's something we
You
can,
know,
revisit that and see how that looks.
I think we should
Um,
have like procedures, like, and if we're going to do something like that, and, we can give an estimate of a budget for each event, but then also, so we're not funding all these events or any events, if we have we as the board decide how the sponsorship will go, or like, even like when we were doing Vintage Fest, what we should have done or could have done is had a booklet put together and sold ads. Right.
No,
So
absolutely.
things like, kind of like what you do with, like with the home tour, kind of thing. So I think, I'd like to see us, and I know that, I think we already have pillars put together with committees, I'm not really sure, but maybe if we were to look at this as a whole, because I think we should I would love to do the run for sure, because that, like you say, everybody comes out with that, and maybe we just build a little bit around Winterfest by having that one day and having the horse-drawn carriage rides. People
And the
can
chili
try.
cook-off.
And the chili cook-off. Just that, those things alone could be.
Right, I think, and I agree with you.
Winterfest.
And I was gonna say on the sponsorship program, I think when we adopted it the last time, we drafted something up and brought it to the board, and the board approved it. There's nothing to say that, Kathy, if you want to draft something up and bring it to the board, we can change it and
Yeah.
approve that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can always change. That was the decision the board
Right.
made at the time, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can always change it going forward.
Going forward, maybe do Winterfest very, not small, but
Simple.
simple, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the-
simple and
The
chili cook-off.
question is that, two things, is one, if the board wants to do that, then we need a board member who wants to chair it. So that's kind of the first and foremost, is someone willing to do it? Because if we don't have a board member who's willing to chair the event, we really don't have an event. So
Right.
that's kind of first and foremost, is someone willing to take that event on? And if so, then I would say that person needs to speak now, and potentially come back to the November meeting with a proposed budget of, this is what we would be doing for the event. Here's, some dollar amounts, we need X number to put out a chili cook, whatever those
Right.
things are. And then allow the board to budget that money for that event. So, I guess that's the first question, is someone willing to do it? Because without that, we can all say what should happen during Winterfest, but if no one's willing to do it, then we don't have Winterfest.
Right.
John, you look like you want to raise
You
your
look
hand.
like a Winterfest guy. So barring no Winterfest volunteers, I think we move on. If someone is interested at some point, I would definitely put together a budget and be ready to volunteer at the next meeting.
There is nothing precluding Coach, the cross-country coach.
No, from doing an
having
event
his
permit.
5K without
He can-
the DDA.
He needs to come do
Absolutely.
an event
Yeah.
permit at the village, come
Right,
ask Village Hall for.
Couldn't he come here and propose it if he needed like advertisement or something like that for us
Absolutely.
to approve?
If it's in the
Yes,
district.
He definitely could. I just want to make sure when I respond to him that, you know, we're encouraging that, yes, we absolutely want to have a 5K, but we aren't doing any specific Winterfest event
To
this year.
coordinate, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he did say, you know, we want to, just like the Historical Society came and said, we'd love to have some money towards something, if he wanted to do that, if he just wanted to provide us with the details and we can promote it since it's happening within the
Yeah.
district, we are welcome, you
And I'm
know.
sure the Masonic would love to do the chili cook-off. We went to them, they would still do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it was a conflict, I think a scheduling, that the chamber couldn't do it last year, so
So,
we did it, but I don't know if this year, depending on the date, it might
Yeah, if
align.
someone, and then, and that's kind of would be really nice to see happen in the district, if someone took that piece of it and then tell us what you're doing. The biggest part is tell us what you're doing so we can continue to advertise it. If someone just decides to have a chili cook-off and we don't know about it, I mean, that's great, but if you want the advertising that your tax dollars are going towards, let us know what's happening so we
I
can get the word
actually
out there.
like the idea of maybe coming up with like a way of helping co-host events for businesses if they wanted to do something like a chili cook-off. Maybe we can come up with like a structure where if a business says, hey, I wanna have a street fair, they can approach the board, one of us can volunteer to work with them, promote the event, things like that. For the self-funded events, but just throw a little bit more of like our resources behind them.
Absolutely. I mean, and that to me is, as the businesses in town, you know, it's not the right terminology, but take advantage of this. You know, this is what we're here to do. So when there's something happening, reach out, tell us, come to a
Right.
meeting, you know, have your input at the board meetings. We've changed our structure so that anyone can speak before we vote, to get feedback. So the more that people tell us, the more it's gonna obviously influence, and we can be doing the things that the taxpayers want us to be doing with their funds. So Winterfest, we will let Coach know that he can continue on. We'll support him in any way, and if a board member does want to move forward chairing it, please bring that information to our next meeting. Michigan DDA Annual Conference.
Yeah.
All righty, so DDA Annual Conference is November 7th through 8th in Ann Arbor. If a board member is interested in attending to learn and network with other downtowns, please confirm your interest with Christina. Event details are in your packet. The cost is $275.
And I don't know if you've ever sponsored a board member to go or not in the past, but, you know, it could be an opportunity.
Yeah.
We had a past director.
Yeah.
Yep, so if that's something that someone's interested in, I would definitely say well, it's November, right? We gotta,
Yeah, it's coming up.
it's coming
Yeah,
up, so we're.
It's coming up quick. I'll be there, but
Oh,
I'll be there as
wonderful.
Michigan Downtown Chair, so.
Are we restricting it to just one? Are we open to more than one, or do we?
If we're gonna, I mean, we can open it up, it's whatever the board wants to do. The cost is $275.
I say,
for
does that
attendance.
include lodging?
No.
No.
Yeah, if you stay the
I
night.
say, that's crazy cheap.
Yeah, so the
Dates is
hotel,
out.
I think, is running.
Thursday, Friday?
I wanna say it's $100 for the
Oh, I
hotel.
lied.
Ann Arbor's a little bit more
Wednesday,
expensive
Thursday.
than some of the other places we've been, but, you know, it's a 2-day event, but it's also not that bad of a drive if you really had to. Or if you can only do one day, that
Wednesday,
could be an
Thursday,
option
Friday.
too, so.
Okay, moving on to,
Do you want to, so this will happen before our next meeting. Do you
Yes.
want to approve a slot or two, should someone decide they're able to go? Because if we close this down now,
Oh, that makes
nobody
sense.
can go.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a thought.
We
I'll
do
make a
too.
motion to approve up to 2 board members that wish to go.
I
are you
second.
including hotel?
No,
No, just the.
it's Ann Arbor.
You mean I have to get off and drive there at 6 a.m.?
Scrooge.
How about cost sharing the hotel?
It's not in his motion.
Was there a second? I'm sorry.
I did second.
Okay.
Okay. Public, any comments?
What do you think, public?
Got nothing? You're good.
You wanna go?
Yeah, I was just, you want to go with us?
She doesn't think we should sleep in our car.
She'll have you booked in a B&B by the end of the night.
Well, what does, for the first day, when does the last class end? I don't have a schedule.
There's a meet and greet, so a walking tour downtown is through 6 PM.
Here we go, sir.
And then when does it start the next morning?
It's 2 pages though, I think.
9.
Take from the front and the back.
I just walked downtown Ann Arbor 3 weeks ago.
I mean, I go back and forth from Ann Arbor all the time from work.
Take from the front and the back, because it's
So I
2
don't-
pages.
I got one.
Okay, so we have a motion
Well, that's your
to
dedication if you decide to go.
up to 2 people,
Yep.
at $275 a person, correct, John?
Yep,
Yes.
And we have a second, so we can go to vote.
okay, so
Wait a second. What does this mean, member, non-member? Are they counting us being?
member?
We are members.
Okay,
Of the association.
okay, all right, just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, cause it's more.
Exactly. Okay, Sanborn,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes?
Rose,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
and Warmer.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Oh, look at that. There's a session on wayfinding signage.
So I'm sorry, I'll just clarify, so that's 2, so the first 2 that notify Christina, the third one will have to pay their own way.
Okay. Unfinished business, parking lot, plan update, PILOT committee.
Where are we at? Oh, and then we'll pass this.
Oh, you got something else?
Did I grab one? Yes, it is, okay.
Okay, so the village board tabled the quote to analyze the parking lots, last month. We received an additional quote that was much less, so the recommendation at this point is to have the village go out for RFQ. Oh, I have this too. To do that work. So just as a reminder, we approved $70,000 to cost share for that, big $140,000 to analyze the parking lots. At this point, we're saying we need to go out for RFQ because the price was just so drastically different. We confirmed there are minor changes that need to be made to the current parking ordinance, or the village attorney is working on them. The PILOT committee continues to meet monthly. We're in the process of entering into a contract with Park Mobile. A draft agreement with the village for transfer of funds and maintenance of parking lots is attached for review and discussion. Annual cost estimates of maintenance and repairs to be provided by the village. So, they have to do a little bit of dig to try to call that out to see what that is, because it wasn't an individual line item. Megan, you can talk
Yeah.
more to that, as far as.
We're looking at it. It's not been billed out that way, so to go back is practically impossible. When they turn in their timesheets, they turn in their hours and what it was spent on, and to go back and go, well, do you remember 2 months ago or, last winter, did you do this parking lot? Going forward, we're going to talk about how we can divide that out to start understanding going forward, but going backwards, we're kind of not there. Everything in the village is old school, so.
So, to that end, we don't know how much it costs annually to maintain the parking lots, what we're currently doing, which is salt, plow, we don't know how much that costs annually. The agreement that you have in front of you, is to basically outline how this process is going to work. The DDA will collect the funds from the paid parking. The village will have a, where is it here? Parking Capital Improvement Fund. So when we transfer all of these funds that we collect, from the paid parking over to the village, it will sit in that capital improvement fund. and can only be used, it's restricted to acquire, maintain, and repair public parking in the area, in the village by the DDA. If that makes sense.
So that is not for the snow plowing, that is not for the maintenance, that is strictly capital improvement, where we've talked about a separate, keeping these two separate, so that the other one would be either, because at this point we are unsure, a percent, an amount, maybe a not to exceed, that's in number 5.
Yeah, so we're keeping, there is a percentage that we'll keep, the DDA will keep for administrative costs. That would include marketing, sending out informational material. Obviously, that'll cost a little bit more in the beginning because we're gonna send out two different direct mailers to residents so they understand what's happening, why it's happening, and how to use Park Mobile. So that cost will be a little more upfront, but on an annual basis, it will go down. You know, the estimate will go down for administrative costs. So we have, you said number 5 was to,
That's the maintenance, where you,
Yeah.
you would join, the DDA would join with the village in the maintenance. The snow plowing, the salting, striping.
so the village, obviously the DDA is within the village. We, as residents, pay taxes. That goes to village DDA maintenance of parking lots, any village parking lots. And then within the DDA, there's taxes paid. So all of these parking lots should be, you know, a shared cost between people paying, you know, DDA tax and our residents. So knowing that the DDA has a much lower budget than the village, we need to try to decide how much at this point we would be willing to contribute on an annual basis, which obviously we can also review every year, to help go toward that maintenance, snow plowing and salting.
You may have already said this, but does it have to be a dollar amount, or can we do a percentage?
I think it could be either or both. This is where we're looking at this and striking,
I
recreating.
think a percentage until we have more data on what we're actually gonna
Yes.
collect from paid parking. And then if we review, you know, if we're just gathering lots of money, then we can change it to
Well,
like
and
a number.
I would say that regardless of how much we get from paid parking, like if we say 10% of what the village pays to have those maintained for snow and salt,
Oh, I see what
it
you're
doesn't
saying.
matter how much we collected from
We
the
still
paid
don't know
parking.
what the
Yeah, we don't
number
know what
is.
that
Right.
is.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
still
so it's
don't have the
completely
data.
separate.
Yeah, so we're committing to it, but I think a percentage.
That's what I'm saying, I would almost do both, a percent with a not to exceed. So if you sign up for 20% and it unfortunately happens to be 20 grand,
Right.
you're on the hook and you might not have it.
Right.
Right, no, that makes sense.
The
'cause
first
we've got a lot of
time or
missing
so,
data there.
it might be wise, percent not to exceed what you really could feasibly,
Yeah, and we
give.
want to put a number in there that even if we didn't make a penny off of paid parking, we can still.
well, these are separate. Your paid parking isn't the maintenance. Paid parking is coming and going in a cap,
I
yeah.
mean, this has nothing to do with.
This is
if
coming
we-
from
yeah.
your TIF, this is coming from tax.
And we have already budgeted every year for CBD revenue sharing anyways. You know, we budgeted $15,500, which we haven't in a little while, you know, come close, last 2 years.
You just gave
anyways.
us 1,200.
Right, and we just did 1,200, so we already have it budgeted, at least we know it's up to that amount. You know, do we say it's up to $5,000?
Yeah, I guess what does the board feel comfortable? And there's nothing to say that we can't change it in the future, so I think we want to put a number out there that we are truly comfortable with. That is, you know, doable for us.
That's where I say to percent and not to exceed, because if the percent would have been less, then you,
It's an easy winter, it could be very little,
Right.
yep.
And then you would, if you just do an amount, then you're giving us $8,000 no matter what.
Yeah,
Right.
not a snowflake doesn't fall, we're still on the hook. Okay,
Yeah,
so I
whichever
guess, does anyone have any thoughts of what they're comfortable with to start the conversation?
Has the village asked for this?
This is the conversation we've been having.
Yep.
Yes,
The village is.
yes.
We had it at our pileup, everyone was saying, how did this all of a sudden, the fee turn into maintenance? And so we've taken the conversation and divided it into two to address both.
So we're ensuring that the money that we're collecting for the paid parking is specifically going to capital improvement. So that's, fixing the parking lots,
Right.
and then keeping the maintenance, snowplow, that is separate. And then just detailing specifically how this will happen.
So this is one more check in our multi-plan
Correct.
approach for
Correct.
everyone.
Cost sharing.
Yes.
So, we have to come up with some numbers, but as we get towards that, what say does the DDA have on the timeliness, the cleanliness? I mean, what's considered, how much input do we have on what's done?
You're gonna get what you see done currently. I can tell you. Like, you've seen the work, you know what it is. There is a hierarchy of what gets done first. For example, the cemetery is snowplowed last. Certain alleys are snowplowed last because there's, you're more through streets. There's
Schools.
yes, there is an attention to certain things.
Where do village DDA parking lots fall?
I want to say those are up there because everyone needs to get to
Some, yeah.
work in the restaurants in the morning. But just so you're aware, I don't know the exact hierarchy, but there is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I just want to make, not that I've seen it be a major issue, but I just don't want it to be a case of we're getting 4:00 in the afternoon and that's when they get to us. So I mean, I would like to see that we've got a little bit of, if we're going to be helping fund, then we should have a little bit of say in what gets done
And what's the percentage of parking lots in the DDA?
compared to
I don't
total
have
lots.
that. Yeah, compared to all of the parking lots, or parking that they do, what,
That's a good question.
Well, that really is the parking.
I mean,
so,
compared to
I mean,
everything that they.
for
plow.
everything that they plow, so what percentage do they plow in the DDA compared to the whole?
Compared
All of the
It's on
streets.
that, it's on that map.
Well, let's say this, the village has, if I'm gonna remember, it's somewhere like 10 lane miles of streets or something to that effect.
That
So
they're
like,
responsible for
well-
plowing plus the parking lots.
yeah, that's all of those are our streets. This is what we're redoing.
Yeah,
And then the parking lots.
So basically, all the parking lots are in the DDA, right, pretty much? Is that
Yeah,
what
I
you're saying?
can't think of any.
Well, there's
village-
no-
I thought there was a
Any-
small private one, but then again.
That's
it's
not a
private.
village lot. So,
yeah.
So what percentage
karate
of that
studio
is,
is not, that's a private.
It's a
And
private-
we
Yeah.
don't plow that.
and we don't
Which
have
one?
that?
The karate studio, just as an example. There's other places,
Right.
the bank.
Right,
These are not our lots.
right.
We don't plow them.
Like, you don't plow my lot, but you plow around that lot because it's public.
Yes, and
So
even,
that, the alleyway,
Right,
is
they plow
included,
that.
yep.
So I guess what I'm asking is, can we base the percentage on what is actually in the DDA that gets plowed, and then that's compared, not just as, obviously we don't hit the streets, but maybe, do we use that as a percentage of?
So how many parking
So
lots
let's
are
say,
plowed
like,
in
I see what you're
DDA?
saying, is like, if we know how much it is
Being
to, say,
plowed, how much are they-
maintain roads and parking lots, right? So
Right.
what percentage is,
Is actually
Is
in the
parking lot.
DDA, and then
Can you
can we
base
use,
off of that?
and say, we'll pay that percentage because that's in the DDA?
yes and no. I think that's a great starting point, but then you also think, well, if I'm putting the snow plow and the salt down the street, that's way easier to make this straight shot than to get out. They literally get out in the village park. They're shoveling the sidewalks and they're trolleying the salt out there. So there's actually more time in the smaller intricate areas. But I think that's a great way to start.
and this does not include any of our sidewalks downtown?
It's snow plowing the streets and the parking lots.
Well, no, just because they do the park, but they wouldn't do this.
They
We
don't
do
do
like
that.
that one small
Everything
section
that we
in there,
already
yeah.
do.
So, yeah, okay.
There's nothing extra.
But then again, is that something that we might want to look at them doing, is maybe having that added and having the DDA pay for
The sidewalks?
the sidewalks, because when you look at it, and it's like, this person does really good at shoveling their sidewalk, and then the person next to them doesn't, but then the person over there does. I mean, I think that's something that, maybe we should consider looking at and having that done, because we are a walkable community all year round. And that is something I think we should pay attention to.
I think that's something that I'm not sure the DPW would necessarily, because you're talking about timing, and that's not gonna be up at the top of the
Yeah.
list when it comes to people driving and
But I'm
getting
not
out.
talking about DPW.
Yeah, no,
I'm
that would
talking
be-
about actually hiring
Yeah,
a
I think
company to do that.
that would work too.
Yeah, and maybe that is something we can look at. Is there a company that we can hire separately that way?
And there's been quotes, you should have them somewhere, and there's reasons why we haven't done it.
Yeah. Okay, but does someone want to throw out a number of what they're comfortable with?
I think, the budget that we've got now, if we looked at maybe just doing like a quarter of it, because we're missing math to
Yeah,
figure out
it's hard to
exactly,
say.
Yeah.
you know, so I think if we did maybe something like a quarter of,
It's like 25%,
That's
not
what
to
I think,
exceed.
25%.
yeah,
But what do we not want to exceed?
25% of your budgeted line item is what you're saying.
yeah, the budgeted line item, yeah,
Yeah.
not the
That
full
would be your
budget.
not to exceed then,
Yeah,
So what is it, 15 you said?
15.5.
Which would be $3,875. But do we want to say a percentage not to exceed? Because,
So you could say if the bill, that it costs is $10,000, we want to pay 10% of that.
yeah,
And not to exceed this, then,
Right.
we,
because if the bill's
2,000,
$3,875, then we're footing the whole bill.
right,
Right.
exactly.
So 10% not to exceed $3,875?
I think that's a good start until we can revisit it next year when we have a little bit more idea of
What
what
we're
things
looking at.
actually cost.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I also want to
Whichever
make
is
sure
the
that it
lesser.
looks like we're being serious about wanting to help.
Be a part of the solution, I agree.
Is there any other item, or,
For a church.
I mean, we have to
Exceeding?
take into consideration that our budget and the funds that we have is significantly less.
Yeah.
So that is part of that, but you're right, there is, some math here that we just don't have.
And then for item number 1, for a term not exceeding, do we want to do an annual, just a 1 year?
What was the contract with Park Mobile? There's the clause to get out of it, but
I think it was 3 years.
3 years.
So we could do it, kind of match that?
Yeah.
The other thing, I think in number 2, although we don't define it, I think there needs to be a set administrative fee for the marketing.
Do you think it's 10%? Does that make
I think
sense?
at a minimum, yeah.
Let's start at 10%. I'd be comfortable with that.
And I think going along with the Park Mobile, I think we need more than a year to determine whether
Absolutely.
or not something's working. So
Yes.
going with 3 years is probably, then we should have all the numbers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
okay, I can have these corrections made for our, meeting and have this presented with, what month are we in? October's meeting?
Yeah.
What was that exact number, 10% or not more than?
$3,875.
Thank you.
so do we need to vote on this to move it forward?
I
I
think
mean,
you'd
yeah.
motion like the draft recommendation.
Yeah.
And then, I think then you still have to have a final contract, right? Because
Right.
it might,
Well, because
Might
we'll,
change
yeah, it
the
might
back
change
end,
at
yeah.
the council table, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it needs to get started somewhere, and yours was the
Yeah.
first meeting of the month,
Right.
so,
So
starting here.
we want to make a motion to send this to the village council then.
Yeah, the
With the changes that we just
changes.
discussed.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Oh, sorry, discussion.
Public, any discussion?
Then you can decide what to do next.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding comments.
Changed our whole meeting for this. Let's get them in there. All right.
It's a start.
All right, St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes?
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
and Van Warmer.
Yes.
I get down lower and lower each time.
All righty, tree board collaboration. At last month's meeting, the board entertained designating a member of the board to serve as liaison to the village's tree board and attend their meetings. Director Hutnick was considered for the designation contingent on availability with meetings, which are the second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m.
I'm attending my first one this Thursday.
Perfect. So, then we will want to formalize that you will be the liaison for the DDA and the tree board.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on that? All right, so I will make a motion to designate Director Hutnick as the liaison between the DDA and the tree board.
I'll second.
That was Lee, right? Sorry.
Don't be so
Yep, sorry,
quick.
I wasn't looking up.
I have to like,
Has something to say about the tree
Would you like
Yes.
to add,
Public comment, please.
save me.
before we vote?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Public comment?
All righty, code enforcement cost sharing. This item was tabled at last month's meeting for future discussion and potentially after.
We struck it from the agenda.
We already did?
So,
Did you?
the meeting previous, the board tabled it indefinitely.
Oh,
In the minutes from the one previous, so we struck it from the agenda. That was before you got here. So I don't know that we continue to have it on
Yeah.
the agenda, or it just gets removed completely?
No, well, and I think moving forward, you just have to let me know when it needs to go back on.
Okay.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Floral contracts. So, final contract costs with Vans Valley and Jusco's for the 2025 floral season have been determined. Contract pricing will increase by $1,000 for Vans Valley install and maintenance, and $500 for Jusco's for summer and fall plant materials.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vans Valley for the amount of $26,900, and Just Goes for $16,500. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes?
So motion and a second.
And it was for second,
Second.
correct?
Kathy?
Kathy?
Yep.
This,
Oh, Kathy, sorry.
this bullet point talks to installation and removal of all hardware, hanging baskets, plant materials. So are they gonna
What?
do it?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Maybe we could
I'll
just ask
I'll
them to put it
clarify,
back
but
on
hardware
instead.
wasn't the screws and bolts and all that, but we'll,
Gotcha, okay,
I
yeah,
think we handled that
okay.
The decoration.
with,
Yes, because I think actually looking through the original agreement, that's what it stated, but he was not doing that, correct?
Well, we left them there
we had left them
this
off, so
past
it wasn't-
season.
Oh, you
They
left
didn't
them
go
there,
down,
okay,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, they
okay.
never went up or down
Okay.
for a whole year.
Yeah.
So I just have a couple questions on the floral in general. Is, what in this current season is going on with our fall months? I see some are up, there's a lot that are not. Our flowers are looking pretty rough out there.
The mums came in without color, for starters, and the flowers that were up, especially the ones that were, I don't know the terminology, draping,
Yeah.
flowing, We're still looking very good, so instead of taking those and
Having nothing?
disposing of them and then having a ball of mums, there were certain areas, I think especially along Main Street, where left the draping, didn't put the mums in just yet.
So, just my opinion, I think it looks rough, seeing the two different flowers
The
up.
transition.
I think that we need to just commit to switching the flowers out, because it looks pretty bad out there, in my opinion. Because now they're looking pretty leggy and dead.
Do we know what his plan is to get the rest out there?
It was this past weekend, so I don't know how many more there still are, but I know
Quite a
there's
few.
some.
I mean, when I came through town, I mean, it's most of Main Street.
I'm sure gonna have a conversation and get them switched out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rest of the fall stuff looks great. The
The
alleys and
board-
stuff, yeah,
Yep.
they're looking really good.
I do have a question for the flowers for next year. Has a motif been chosen?
Thought we said
Yes.
red, white, and the purpley
Yes.
blue.
Mhm.
Okay.
Vibrant colors.
Yeah, it was one of the meetings I was at.
Yep.
I don't remember which one.
It would be nice if we get everybody to hang flags out too,
Yeah.
Yeah,
with that theme.
the colors, yeah, would look great, nice and
That would
bright.
look really awesome, yeah.
Okay, so any further discussion? We have a motion and a second?
Yeah, we
Public
did.
comment?
Linda?
You're good.
Okay, so it's financial?
She's never gonna come again.
This is it. She's one and done.
All right, we calling it?
Yeah.
Okay, St. Lawrence,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes?
Hutnick,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
and Warmer.
Yes.
All right, passes.
So PILOP update is on here. E, I think we kind of covered it with A.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to add.
When's the next meeting? Because I missed the last one.
I have to look at it.
Employee committee updates, phone interviews have been conducted with the slate of candidates this past week by our interim director. And interviews with final candidates will be held mid-month. Anticipated recommendation date for board approval will be in November, depending on the outcome of those interviews.
What will that look like for us? Will
The
it come down,
interviews?
well, no, like when it comes here, is it going to come down to, here are 3 options, or will there be a singular recommendation? What will that?
Singular
Okay.
recommendation.
And will they be here if there's one to be put forward next month?
I would
What's
recommend
the-
that they be here.
Okay. And would we be able to go back and forth?
I don't know, I think that's a conversation for the board. I mean, I think your committee is making a recommendation. I think there probably could be some line of questioning, right?
Well, I'm sure there'll be something written, like we will have information, correct?
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
receive resume, you'll receive our interview notes as well.
Okay.
I want to, kind of caution that we don't do like a second interview,
Right.
Right.
here at the board table. But I think based on the feedback that you receive, hopefully it'll be enough for everyone.
I just
make
want us all
informed
to have an understanding of what to expect, and so that there's not any unmet expectations and upset.
Nope, I completely agree, but I do think it's important that it's a meeting of the recommended person, and the board should be able to, make a decision based on the information, the response to questions, that's been provided, because I don't wanna get, we can start getting down and dirty on specific questions, and that's essentially what the employee committee is there to do. Holidays,
Who did it?
we already did that one. Statement of support of occupancy permits, there's no update there. Holiday decor, we've already done. And grant writing updates.
Just got one last handout for the day.
Take it.
All right, so, and just to kind of briefly read over the letter, from Josie, Ogle, who's our intern. She did meet with Kathy Dickens to go over the EPA grant to see if there are areas of research, writing, and editing that she could help with that grant that For Community Foundation is pursuing, For County Community Foundation, excuse me. We also just met to discuss the TAP grant further, and knowing that we're still in the process of seeking quotes for architectural services. She was going to dive into areas where she could start writing and developing some content there. So that is one area. And then she also started looking into additional art grants, and many of those deadlines have passed for this year. But I think the question there is, what do you want to do and where do you want to do it? So if you know those things, then we can say, okay, we have these items, right? Now let's go and figure out when can we apply for these future upcoming grants. Because there's, like Makaka always has a rotating round every single year. And I want to say, I think it might be the springtime that they normally get applicants for that grant. And then I think there might also be a fall one. So it's just like, we've just kind of missed the window right now, but if there's, whether, you want to assign someone or a small committee, ad hoc committee to kind of discuss and determine like where else would art make sense, and what type of art are we interested in, then, kind of putting kind of that list together would be a really good start for us, and would help Josie. So, Josie still has a lot of time left on her internship, and, want to use her to the best ability at this point.
There was actually some good ideas in this thing from Crimson about art installations throughout the town. Maybe she could take a look and see if some of those would be viable options. There was stuff like.
I don't think it's for her to determine the art. I think it's
Oh,
for
we
you,
have to determine.
you need to
Okay.
determine what you want to
Okay.
do. Yeah.
So should we put together a committee to meet, and is that what you're suggesting?
I think it might be appropriate, if that's something that is like, a priority of something you want to achieve, then do it. If it's not a priority right now, then, let it go by the wayside for a little bit, so.
I think it's worthwhile to at least start getting those discussions going and having some plans.
I'll talk about art.
That would pull in Starkweather.
Yeah.
So if you
That'd
want
be
to
a good.
work on it, I'd be happy to, and then maybe we can get someone from Starkweather to join us.
Yeah, that would be
Great
a great idea.
Any buildings out there want to volunteer sides of their building for murals, just let
Yeah.
us know.
Right?
Yep.
Just ready for the next thing.
Okay. Board member comments?
No, I think figuring out adding art is always a good thing, so I'm an artist and, yeah, I have no problem helping,
Yeah, so we'll get together, we'll meet up with Starkweather and,
yeah.
cool.
I, first of all, just want to thank Christina continuing on another couple months, and also with what you've been doing, because obviously you are, at least with responding to me off hours, you're all in, so I just appreciate that. Just want you to know, I know you've got a couple days, you're in officially in the office, but you're not shy in helping in between. Thank you.
I just wanted to, I have a couple things here. I wanted to say welcome to the new Youngers reopening. Looks great inside. I was lucky to be invited to their soft open and was able to go there and try out their food, and it was excellent, and it looks really great inside, so I wish them the best. Also want to thank Carl at Vera's for our fall lights downtown, the orange and purple, and the addition of the big spiders are pretty cool, so those look really great. Our downtown decorations around town look really good. So it's nice to see that. And then a thank you to Frontier Town who donated all of those stalks and pumpkins and barrels for our look downtown. So thank you to them. They did that just on their own to help make sure that our downtown looks nice. Thank you to the board, everyone for their hard work this past month. And to remind everybody that this Friday is the Art and Wine Walk and the Empty Bowls at Starkweather. So definitely be downtown, check out all the stores that are going to be open, and definitely go to Empty Bowls and support the Starkweather Society with that event. It's a really great event that the money goes right back into the needy in our community. So I would definitely encourage everyone to stop there and see it.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about floral decor, I was concerned about, I think Marty had brought it up, the accidents that were happening, with floral decor being in the way. So I reached out to Chief to see if we have accidents that are, occurring in those areas, if there's any other areas in town where we need to consider taking those brackets down, because the flowers are just going back up in the same place that they were before. There weren't, new decisions about where they were to be put. So Chief did confirm there were no accidents reported due to flowers, and he didn't hear anything from his officers either. So from that standpoint, we've taken the one down that's of a concern, so we should be okay with the placement of where the rest of them are. I meant to mention that during the floral piece. And then I wanted to welcome the 2 new businesses. Rachel was here tonight, Supernatural Beauty and Co. They're at 129 East Newberry. And then another one, Metamorph Pilates. They are at 216 North Bailey. So they have opened, and we're excited about that. That's all I had.
From the village's side, we've had some properties in the downtown being potentially looked at to be purchased and reinvented. Can keep you updated as that goes. Thank you guys for all you do.
Actually, I'm just gonna ditto what Danielle just said, so, everything you just said. Thank you.
I just wanted to, since we were talking about grants, and I'd like to kind of learn more about the grants that are available here in Romeo for the business facade and signage. So I think that would be something for us to know about so that we can offer, especially with situations that are happening, like with signage or things like that, that maybe it's a nice way to go in there and say, well, maybe your sign doesn't work, but did you know we have this grant for that to help them out with things, so.
We can have it on our next agenda. I
Yeah,
think.
so if we could put that on there, I'd like to be
Little
knowledgeable
education on it,
about
yeah.
it and in that, so.
Great.
But, yeah, everybody, thank you so much, everybody does a great job by being part of it.
Perfect. All right. Christina, public, anyone?
Feel a little scattered tonight. No, but thank you. And it's been a pleasure really working with all of you. You're a very committed group, so you should be very proud of yourselves for the work and the time that you really do put into it. So many other DDAs would be like just absolutely ecstatic to have an engaged board like this, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.